I make my character feel like a real person? One of the ways is through backstory detail incorporation. This video is about the little things, the tiny events in a character's past, or the relationships they have, that when all added together, give the impression of a real person with a full life. I'll do another video on backstory reveals, where we're delivering a narratively important piece of backstory. This video is more about character, developing character, and giving that character and the narrative they're in texture. And just a quick obligatory note that I'm talking about point of view characters in this video, so the character whose head you're inside. Now, I want you to think about the kinds of things you think about as you're going through your day. You walk down the street and you think, oh shoot, I need to call my mom today. Or you see something in a shop window and it looks just like the dress your cousin wore to your sister's wedding. So you take a picture of it on the mannequin and you send it to her and you're like, who wore it better? Or you see that the local sports team lost and you send a text to your husband's best friend razzing him for rooting for the losers. These are the kinds of tiny little details that you can incorporate into your story to make it clear that your character had an entire lifetime full of concrete experiences before the story started, and that a lot of those experiences came with relationships. This is a great way to foreshadow characters who are going to appear, but it's also a nice way to refer to important people in your character's life who might not appear on screen without feeling like you need to make your main character into an orphan. There are a lot of characters with dead parents for convenience choices, not style choices. Now, of course, if you go overboard on the details, especially details that aren't particularly relevant to the narrative, you're going to run the risk of overwhelming the reader, because fundamentally this is kind of like a cross between a character and world building exposition. So try to pick out details that not only expose something about the character's backstory and their relationships, but also say something about who they are, what they notice, what's important to them, and what kind of judgments they form about it. Let's say your character's struggling with infertility and she passes by a woman pushing a baby carriage on the street. The woman reminds her of her younger sister who's already married and has children. Not only does that enrich the narrative by showing this connection between the character and another character, a person who's in her life, but it also hints at conflict, definitely internal and possibly external conflict as well. Using context as your character is moving through their day to make reference to important elements from their story and life will enrich your narrative and make your character feel like a fully fleshed out person.